Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 91 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey, Nick, and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great.
What's up, fellas? Hey, everybody.
Jackson is interested as always.
Ready to channel my inner teacher and hand out some grades today.
Ooh, that's right. Our second straight grading episode. In the last one, we did every team in the Eastern Conference. This one, we're doing the other conference, the Western Conference, now that we're about 15 games into the season. Definitely the more competitive conference. So this should be a lot of fun. But before we get into that, couple big news headlines. We have some drama with a team at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. We have a potential new format for the All-Star game. But, of course, we have to start with something that may cause the most controversy, PERTL. We need to actually redeem ourselves. Freaking John Conchar screwed us last time. Or maybe it was Jackson guessing Jordan.
No, it was Conchar.
It was Conchar.
Not always me.
Okay. So, Nick, you said you had a golden player to start us off with, so let us know. Who is it?
Golden might be a stretch, but I do think we can get in more than, I think, whatever it was, 6 or 7 last time.
I'm hoping 3. I'm going 3.
I got Delon Wright because he's played for a lot of teams. His number's right in the middle.
Delon Wright, number 55. All right, let's do it. Number 55.
When did you research him for?
Eastern Conference.
Who's old as dirt, who's played for the Bucks. All right, we can get this, dude. We could totally get this.
6'5"?
I mean, Jay Crowder.
Joe Ingles?
Who does he play
It's
for?
Joe Ingles. It's Joe Ingles.
No, it's not.
Joe Ingles is in the East.
Wow. Torian Prince currently plays for them.
And, this guy is 35 or older, dude.
Yeah, this guy's old.
Let me pull up my handy dandy divisions, please.
Isn't Joe Ingles on a Western Conference team this year?
Yeah, he's on Minnesota.
Oh yeah, Minnesota.
What team is Jake? Is Jay Crowder on a team?
He's out of the league.
Shout out to Joe Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden took Jay Crowder out of the league. SMH.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks. Hey.
All right, chill, will ya?
Eastern Conference.
Former
old as dirt.
He's old.
Kyle Lawler never played for them, did he?
No.
He's also exactly 6'5" as well.
Exactly a 6'5", so he's probably a guard / forward.
How old is Tobias Harris?
Not 35.
You guys gotta give me this. This is a good pull.
Yeah,
that was pretty good, man.
That was a great first guess, Nick.
We have to be able to get this in 2, dude.
Old Bucks players.
Old what?
George Hill don't play no more.
No.
It's a forward. It's a forward guard.
Guard forward.
I think I'd like the silhouette. I think the silhouette is not cheating.
No, we're not using the silhouette.
No, we're not using it.
No, they think it's cheating. I don't think so, but
I know
Miles
it's cheating.
It barely ever gives. I mean, John Conchar's silhouette. Like it could have been anybody.
it was meant to no help for us.
Could have been anybody.
I feel like this is a guy who's like barely played a game this season.
I agree. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so hard.
But it shouldn't be. I mean, a guy who's old.
Michael Carter Williams.
Did freaking Garrett Temple ever play for the Bucks?
Garrett Temple's still in the league.
He is on the Raptors now.
He's on the Raptors.
And he's priced about 6'5", and he has a highest
and he's
number.
played for a ton of teams. I don't know if he's played for the Bucks.
He was on the Bucks for sure. I think he was on the Bucks.
Yeah, honestly, that's a pretty good pull.
Garrett, we want to try Garrett Temple?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, Garrett Temple. Let's go.
Let's go.
That's great.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
He was one of my other guys that I was gonna pick for this because he's older and played a lot on teams that has a highish number.
Why is Garrett so serious? By the way, Garrett, you need to smile.
Well, no,
see, we could have given that silhouette.
He's wearing the NBPA shirt. He's like one of the presidents of the Players Association.
Oh yeah.
Well, there we go. That took us like 10 minutes less than the last episode. There we go.
Good pull, guys. Good pull.
Let's go. All right, now let's get into some news here. First, let's start with we'll save the Sixers drama for next. First, let's start with the NBA All-Star game. Came out actually last week kind of that they were playing around, the players and owners in the league were playing around with different concepts for this upcoming All-Star game in San Francisco. And over the last decade, we've seen a lot of different ways of going about the All-Star game to try to fix it because it has not been good or competitive over the last several years. I think we can all agree on that. So then it comes out earlier yesterday as we're recording that the NBA All-Star game to have a pickup style tournament format, which would be 2 semifinal games played up to 40 points with the winners advancing to the final matchup to 25 points. It'd be a pickup style, and you'd get your 24 All-Stars like normal, 12 from the East, 12 from the West. Not sure how they'd be selected, but they'd be selected to 3 teams of 8, and then the winner of the Rising Stars game from Friday, which is in itself has this similar format here. Nick, let's start with you. What do you think about this potential concept?
So overall, I like it. I do. I think it'll be more competitive, having less guys, not having to worry about playing time like really at all. Like everyone's gonna have to play. I think that'll be really important. They should put a cash. I would tweak a couple things. They should put a cash incentive, I think, for the winning team. That'll always help. I love having the rookies earn their way in. That's a great idea. But my initial reaction was like, I wish it was double elimination. And if they're going to play games to that low of a score, like 40 and 25, I would love to see it be. I know it has to be one night and get those 3 games in, but you could do it like over the course. You could do the first round on Friday.
Or I see what you mean with the low scoring, because that I kind of agree with that as well. Unless they're like, we're gonna play 2s and 1s, but I don't think they would do that.
No, it'd be
there's
probably
no
2
way.
and 3.
No, they have to get those 3 games in, and I get it, but like,
They'd be.
I don't know
able
how
to.
fun it is going to be to watch a 20-minute game.
Let's be real. Is the All-Star game ever going to be really that fun to watch? Even if this format can help things, but let's be real. We thought a couple of years ago as well, when they did the set score once you reach the 4th quarter, and like whoever wins, they give the money to charity. You started seeing, at least in the 4th quarter, them start to get a little competitive, and it was fun to watch. But then it went away the next year. It's never going to be consistent. It's never going to be super fun to watch anymore, and I don't know how you fix it. Just give them a break, honestly.
I think they need to implement what Major League Baseball does with their All-Star game, because in the MLB you have the NL and AL, which, if for people who don't know baseball, it's the American League and the National League, which is like the 2 divisions. But basically, they play their All-Star game, and whichever team wins, like, so say the AL wins the All-Star game, in the World Series, which is the finals, the last series, whichever team is coming from the AL would get home field advantage in that series.
I also like that. I also agree with that. I think that would help a lot.
In the NBA, like, they could do something like that, where say the East wins, then say the Cavs make the finals, they get home court advantage.
I guess. Well, see, the thing. I mean, that's if they kept the East-West format. It just doesn't. They're not keeping it for this. I think if they did keep East-West, that would be an interesting way to go about it. To have the winner have home court advantage in the NBA Finals. The thing I'm kind of interested in this is how the teams get selected. Like, who would be the head coaches in this situation? Because usually it's the head coach of, the conference. How would that work? How would players get selected? Like, I don't know how that would work.
Probably TNT.
Like this year, it'd probably be Missoula and Kenny, and then Kerr and Marky D, just because they're the top 2 from each.
When I hear pickup, I just think of team captains, not necessarily head coaches. What I would love to see is have each of the 4 NBA Tonight guys Draft a team, bro. Come
That's what
on,
I'm
man.
saying. That's what I
Is that what
just
you
said.
said?
I was like, dude, TNT guys,
Yeah.
just let them draft them and
That
have
would
them
be
be the
lit.
coaches.
That would be lit.
Ernie
That's such a
coach
good
a team,
idea.
Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny.
We had that for a little bit during like
Fantastic.
the Rising Stars They're the rookie sophomore game back
Yeah,
then.
like
We
Kyle
kind of
Gasol was last year, and other people.
Either
I
way,
think wasn't it, they did that last year, didn't they? Like Dominique was one.
Well, they always have legends like be the coaches, but I'm saying as the
Yeah,
legends draft their
draft the
team
All
as well.
Stars, bro.
Yeah, draft the All Stars, or like you said, especially since obviously we don't know if TNT is probably going to come back again next year with ESPN as well. We talked about that last time, but why not just have the 4 guys do it? This might be this is going to be the last time all 4 of them, because there's no shot all 4 of them are going to return next year.
Yeah, would definitely be interesting. Excited to hear more about this potential format, especially because I do think that this could work. I do like this idea as far as playing to a total score and it being, less players on the teams, and you get the Rising Stars team in there who are going to be playing for something. The All-Star teams are not going to want to lose to the Rising Stars.
That's what I like about it. I like including the young guys.
I think playing to a lower score, I didn't really think about it this way, but it will require defense. Like every bucket's going to count.
Mm-hmm.
Playing to 40 and playing to 25, so that might work. Yeah,
it will. And at the end of the day, I think that they're kind of banking on defense being played in this, because if we get 3 games, 40, 40, 20, total to 100. Well, we'll see how quick those games could go, but they're going to be they're banking that the teams will play defense.
Got to get those ads in.
I like
those timeouts in.
I like the optimism, Miles, but especially with how the schedule and how grueling it is and all that kind of stuff with all the back-to-backs and the tournament and the NBA Cup, I don't know, man. These guys don't want to play defense on their 1 break a year.
Yeah, there's something to say for that as well. Like, if this doesn't work, do they just take away the All-Star game? But I think the league would just lose so much money from that as well. It's just nice to see that they do care about the fans with trying to make a new format out of this. And Steph Curry is leading this charge. He's joined several All-Stars with input on this event. So it's the players coming up with this. And obviously Curry, the face of the Bay Area where this All-Star game is. So I think that alone, I think there is hope, but we won't really be able to find out until it ends up happening. So it's just something we'll have to kind of wait and see until we get more information about it, but definitely intriguing at the very
Absolutely least. Yes, sir.
Next bit of news, let's go to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Drama.
We talked about them in the grading, every team in the Eastern Conference video. But that night, Monday night, the Sixers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies in that game. And we got a players-only meeting following that loss to the Heat, where everyone was really everything was on the table in that meeting. Everyone was telling each other really the truth about how they've been playing off the court. The big headline was Tyrese Maxey challenging Joel Embiid, calling him out about being late for quote unquote everything and how it impacts the locker room from other players to the coaching staff. Maxey and Embiid have a close friendship and a history of holding each other accountable, but this was a big elephant in the room that needed to be addressed. Joey, what do you think about this? I mean, obviously this is something that probably needed to happen now that they're 2-12 on the season, which is the worst record in the league.
Much needed. Much needed. And obviously I just saw that Paul George is going to be out for a little bit, so it's not going to get any easier for him. But I saw on his on a Playoff P's podcast, he was saying, it says something it was almost sounded like a backhanded comment, but he was like, we can't have the rookie Jared McCain be the most consistent player on this team when you have guys like himself, Paul George, Joel, MVP, and all these other vets on this team. You can't have a guy who's played less than 20 games in the NBA be the most consistent player.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Should also mention, so following that Monday game, of course, Maxey had been out with a hamstring injury. Paul George and Joel Embiid had been out of the lineup, in and out. But on Wednesday, they all were able to play together. Maxey returned. Maxey, George, and Embiid played for the first time. Unfortunately, it only lasted one half because literally the second play of the third quarter, Paul George hyperextended his left knee on just a tough play. They later said that it was a bone bruise. Hopefully shouldn't be out for too long, but they just they haven't really gotten a rhythm so far. This is about as bad of a start as I think they could have had to this season.
Guys, I want to pose a question to you real quick. How long until Nick Nurse is fired?
Not a good question.
No.
Really?
I don't think you can put this on him.
No, I think that's no. They're not. They shouldn't fire him over this. I don't think there's a chance.
I don't think they will. That's why I'm thinking.
What do they have to do? Because they're not.
Their players haven't been on the court.
All right. Well, it's never good. You got to call a players only meeting like 1/7 into the season after like literally a dozen games.
Better to address it now though than later.
That's the thing. So I think it says more about Tyrese Maxey for doing that than it does for. I mean, it says a lot about Embiid, but like for Maxey to have in year 3 to go with their star that's been there for his whole career and say you need to do better, keep him accountable. I think it says more about Tyrese Maxey than Embiid. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, never good. And I don't think you could put it on Nick Nurse because Tyrese Maxey kind of laid it out. Like everyone just kind of needs to step up, and it starts with the best player. He didn't call it the head coach; he called it the best player.
And I think we all know Nick Nurse is a very good head coach and has been for a long time. So far this season, they just have not had the roster really to do it. I mean, I thought that the Sixers would be able to kind of get by a little bit or better than they did in like last year because of the role players that they acquired. And their role players are solid, but offensively, I mean, they have the worst offense in the league right now, rating wise, and it just hasn't been good. And I think you could potentially put that on Nick Nurse. I can understand why that sentiment is there. I just don't think it's fair when he has been given this roster, which on paper is really good, and they haven't been on the court together. I think you got to give him more than this start to the season.
They're all brand new.
It's a brand new roster.
All those guys are brand new. So putting that on the coach would be wrong.
And Philadelphia, I've mentioned this in the Run in the Paint recap videos. They do have a nice stretch of games over the next few where they can start to maybe get on track here after this road trip. They have a 3-game homestand, not easy by any means, but they play the Nets, the Clippers, and the Rockets. Obviously, the Rockets have been playing great. Then on the road against Detroit and Charlotte, and then some pretty easy games coming up there. And obviously, some of those games are difficult, but when you're the Sixers in this situation, when you've dropped these games early on to start the season, you're going to have to beat the teams that you are supposed to beat and also steal some wins that you're not supposed to get going forward. And if there's any bright spot to, I guess, this week for the 76ers, it is that on Wednesday, Joel Embiid looked like Joel Embiid. He looked good. He had 35 points in that game, and he looked back to himself. And I know Jackson, we all know how Jackson feels about Joel Embiid and the Sixers.
How do you roll your eyes at 35?
I know he's probably the happiest that they've been, the worst team in the league so far. But if there is any bright spot, it is that Embiid is looking like himself.
Oh, he had one good game. Get over it. He's been trash.
It does feel like every game is a tough game for the Sixers at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had an actual good star, I don't know. Besides Tyrese Maxey.
They got Jared McCain, man.
I'm so sick of Jared McCain.
Dude, literally, you hate everyone on the Sixers. It doesn't matter.
No, I like Jared McCain. I actually have liked Jared McCain since college. I was hoping the Rockets would draft him, but they didn't. So.
Reed Shepherd.
I do like Reed Shepherd. He's a dog.
But yeah, man, I am happy that they did have this meeting this early into the season to kind of address all these things because, it probably took this 2-12 start for something like this to happen. Like if they had been winning these games, probably wouldn't happen. And I think that this meeting can only help them going forward. Now that they're going back home a little bit, and we got to see Embiid look a little bit more like himself, and Maxi's back. Now that they have their two best players back, which they hadn't had all season long, now they potentially have a chance to get back in it. But obviously not a good start, and going to have to play from behind here going forward.
How long do we think Paul George is out?
Probably a week.
Yeah, I don't think it'll
I'd
be.
say
Yeah, I don't think it's that long.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
looked it
it's
up.
only
It said usually like 6 to 7 days.
They need to rattle off like 5 wins in a row or something.
Yeah, I think Philly, now that they have their guys back and they've had this meeting, we can kind of, unless any more stuff comes out about drama
Unless
behind the
Joel
locker
shoves
room
any
or
more reporters in the locker room.
anything like that. I think that we kind of come
accidentally-
back to the Sixers in like 2 to 3 weeks and see where they're at in a couple of weeks and see how they're playing then. For now,
How many back-to-backs do they play?
how many back-to-backs do they play? Let's see here.
No,
Right.
sorry.
None
Like
for the
12.
next week. They don't play any in the next week.
No excuses.
They got a chance at being good. They got a chance.
Big
at being
baby.
good.
So,
No
I don't know.
back-to-backs.
I love all this optimism you guys have, but I'm
Oh,
just
there's
not
no
seeing
optimism.
it. I'm just not seeing it with the Sixers team.
On here.
It's so
No optimism.
discombobulated. And like I know I said about Nick Nurse, I love Nick Nurse, but he's a good coach and he shouldn't be put through this kind of torture. I want him to go to an actual team and a good franchise.
Like Houston. No, we have Ime Udoka.
Yeah, go to Houston.
Continuity.
I love Ime Udoka so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. The vibes are just not it right now in Philadelphia. But I would be shocked if they didn't go on some sort of run at some point in the season. I
They
don't.
should
I
just
don't
make
think,
some more TikToks. Just make some more TikToks.
I'd be shocked if they did.
well, yeah, you're a Sixers hater. Of course you are.
TikToks
You guys
heal
know
all.
my whole feed basically is just,
Jared McCain.
people trashing Embiid. It's amazing. I send these dudes so many Instagram reels and stuff every day. It's like 5 a day.
Are you sure your whole feed isn't Jared McCain TikToks?
No, it's not.
Probably close.
It's
Probably close to
Embiid
it.
hate. It's
Probably
straight up
close to
Joel Embiid hate.
Let's grade these teams.
Yeah, so let's get to the Western Conference and start grading all of these teams here. Excited to hear what you guys think about these teams. Nick, let's get started with you. Who's the first team that you want to talk about?
Dallas Mavericks.
All right.
Our Western Conference champion from last year. Let's talk about them. How do we think they're doing? Because I don't think so good. Luka don't look great. That's not the only reason I don't like it. I gave him a C. And
Okay.
at first, I have it scribbled out right here. Initial thought was a B+. And then I took a deeper look. Bumped him down to a C. Kyrie has been phenomenal. 24, 5, and 4. He's shooting 54% from 3-point range.
He's third in the league in 3-point shooting right now on the high
It's
volume.
unbelievable. All right, they had a 4-game losing streak. Wasn't that bad. They lost by 8 total points in this 4-game losing streak to Phoenix, Denver, Golden State, and then they lost to the Jazz by 2. They beat OKC without Luka. They didn't have Chet in that one, so kind of chalked that one up. But my thing with Dallas has always been their defense. I've preached it since last year. They went on an amazing run, but it's still always been the case that their defense, and they foul a lot. The holy trinity right here. I got 3 stats. Bottom third in fouls, free throw attempts for the opponent. They give up a ton of offensive rebounds. Despite Lively and Gafford, those two aren't barely ever on the court together, so they're usually a little bit smaller. Washington isn't great in the paint getting boards, so they give up a lot of second chances, and they do not force turnovers. Like Kyrie and Luka, Kyrie's a good defender. Luka's not.
Yeah.
But neither of them really get a lot of steals, and they're not really as long as they were last year without Derek Jones.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think they're in trouble
Mavericks-
for real. I think they're in trouble.
In trouble. What do you mean by in trouble? Like,
Well, they're 8-7.
okay,
They're definitely not going to get home court advantage. They had a chance,
Ooh.
I think, at the I would have given them a chance at the beginning of the year. I think I probably switched my opinion on that.
So Dallas, to me, so far, obviously you mentioned them in all the close games. You're right. 4 games in a row, you lose by a combined 8 points, which was unreal. They were in so many close games, just not able to really pull them out at the end. And I'd probably say that a lot of that comes down to those stats that you're just mentioning, Nick. A lot of times those close ball games do come down to getting extra possessions, opposing free throws, not fouling other teams. But the one thing that is kind of disappointing me the most so far this season has been PJ Washington. You could have say was one of their main X factors last year on them going on their run. So far this year, he's having the worst season of his career. He's grabbing 8 rebounds per game. He's having his best rebounding season, but on the offensive end, he's not providing that spark that he did when he was there last season. And he did miss 5 games. Actually, he missed the 4 games in a row where they lost by a combined 8 points. But PJ Washington, when he doesn't play the Oklahoma City Thunder, he has not been that great. He's not been that great this season. So not having that role player, that reliable role player there, definitely not the best. What do we think of Klay Thompson's start to the season for Dallas?
Streaky. If I remember, I've checked the stats a couple times. I mean, I don't monitor Klay's every game, obviously. I'm not a big time Mavericks watcher, but it seems like he's either giving you like 19 to 20 or he's giving you like 8 to 10.
He gave Buckets to Golden State at the Chase Center.
He did. That was incredible. We never got a chance to really talk about that on here as a whole pod. That was a super cool moment there.
Everyone wearing captain hats in the stands. That was sick.
Shaq with the captain hat.
I think he's had a pretty good start, but he don't play defense either.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. I mean, Jackson, you're spot on there. I mean, he's either giving you those 20-point games or he's in the single digits or around 10, 12 points. Like there's really not much in between there. And I think Dallas, in order for them to, kind of be back where they were last year or even have a chance to, they need a third guy to be consistent. Like right now, Kyrie's being very efficient. Luka is not shooting the ball the best, but his numbers still look, fantastic. He still is having certain great highlights on the offensive end. Defense, we obviously know that's a problem. But the role players, you got Klay giving you 14 points a game, shooting 37% from 3. Not horrible. Already mentioned PJ Washington. Najee Marshall has been a decent addition for them for their defense, but as far as a spacer, he's giving you nothing on that. Quentin Grimes has been decent. They just need that third consistent guy for them, especially games where Luka isn't shooting the best or, heaven forbid, Kyrie is a rare game where he isn't on fire. But I don't think a C is that bad. 8-7 so far. I mean, it just shows they're a game over 500, but that's how the West is going to be. They're right there in the play-in right now. And I will also say it is early. It is very early right now. And when you look at their season so far, we mentioned all the things that are going kind of wrong. They're 5th in offense and 7th in defense. Yeah. So on that front, they're having an amazing season. If Kyrie made the game winner against Denver or the foul call at the end on the Suns Mavericks game wasn't called, this team could be 10-5, and we're talking about them in a whole different slate right now. Because right now, I mean, they're one of the few teams. There aren't many teams that can say that they're top 7 in both offense and defense.
Cavs can.
Shout out to the Cavs. Joey, who's the first team you want to talk about?
First team I'm going to talk about is the Denver Nuggets.
All right.
Now, they've been all right, in my opinion. Like, I have higher standards for the Denver Nuggets, as I think we all should, because Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. But he's been injured, at least for the last couple games.
Not injured, personal
reasons. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Forgot personal reasons. My bad. Him and the coach. So, yeah, my bad. But the biggest worry that we all had, obviously, was when Jokic is off the floor. Luckily, it didn't kill them. Luckily, they got help. Yes, at least their last game from Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
Big shout out to Russell Westbrook for
still
hitting
got
the 200 triple-double mark.
Tremendous accomplishment, man.
First person in NBA history. That is incredible.
Dude,
you deserve it. But
why did they not give him a Sharpie? Like, I'm sorry. Like, that made me so mad. I'm like, he had to edit it on his post. He had to write it in the actual, like, largest text.
Welcome to Disney Channel.
Welcome to Disney Channel.
But either way, they're 8-5 right now. They're what did it say? They are 5th in the West. So like, they're fine right now. Jokic is coming back.
We're fine in the West.
They're fine. I personally, I would give them a B. They need to play better because, again, the same issues are going to happen because it's not consistent that Russ is going to drop you a triple-double and carry that team.
Well, also in that game, Murray and Porter finally looked.
Murray and Porter were fantastic.
I got 2 words. Christian Braun.
Yeah,
I was about to shout him out as well. Christian Braun has been fantastic for them this season. They needed a new guy to come in after losing KCP, and KCP hasn't worked out the greatest for the Magic, and Christian Braun has been working great for them.
Yeah, I think besides the Jokic off the floor thing, their biggest question coming in was how would their role players step up?
Absolutely.
With KCP leaving. Christian Braun, like you guys said, he's been playing well. Peyton Watson, after Aaron Gordon got injured, he's been playing very well. The thing that's kind of been crazy is their second and third guy, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, were kind of playing like elite role play. Like they weren't playing to their all-star capabilities. And that was why the Nuggets kind of were struggling at the beginning of the season. That's the main thing I was saying when we were talking about their struggles. It's like, okay, we could talk about the bench all we want. If Murray and Porter are not going to play up to their capabilities, then it doesn't matter what the role players do. It doesn't matter. With Jokic being out, it's been good to see Dario Saric step in there and actually have some good games at the center spot. That's definitely been impressive. It's funny. We were just talking about the Mavericks and them losing so many clutch games. It's kind of been the opposite for Denver. This is kind of like the opposite between the Nuggets and the Mavericks right here. They were in a whole lot of close games, and they've been winning in them. So they are actually 8-5, right now. And
that's what good teams do is they find a way to win. But that's why I'm giving them a B, because they can obviously be better once Jokic comes back. Murray and Porter, that was a huge confidence game for them. They just need to keep it going and get back to that level. And then honestly, they could again. Top 3 seed in the West, like always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very true.
All right, my first team. Let's see. We've talked about a couple teams that we've expected to be in the hunt here. So I'll talk about a team that's been really good that wasn't expected to be in the top of the hunt with the Houston Rockets. And man, oh man, they get an A. The Houston Rockets have flat out been one of the best teams in basketball so far this season. I'll let Jackson cook in a little bit here, but dude,
I want to say A+ so bad.
They've had so many games where just everyone is just, even if statistically they're not playing, the best, they don't have the best numbers, the impact has been sensational so far. The only reason they don't have an A+ is because still trying to figure out what they should do with Jalen Green. But, I mean, when you have this start to the season, you deserve an A because they've been great on the defensive end, which we know is their calling card. But even offensively, they've been playing pretty well as well. Jackson, go cook.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. It's just, the defensive end of the basketball, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson are looking like all NBA first team level defenders. It's been amazing. And even Dylan Brooks has been fantastic on the defensive end. He's not getting enough credit. He's been out of the media this year, which is kind of
disappointing. It says disappointing.
No, good. It's good. Shut up. Let me cook. But I mean, even I mentioned Tari Easton. He's been a great two-way player. He's been really good on the defense or on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, he's been giving a lot of good games. Alperen Şengün, even though he hasn't been the most efficient player, has been the leader that we all thought he was going to be, and he's been by far the best player, I think. Jalen Green started off looking good, but he's kind of fallen off. If I think he'll figure it out, I think Jalen Green goes through a lot of these. He's like, I'm going to keep comparing him to Jordan Poole because him and Jordan Poole remind me of each other. Like, they're similar players in the sense that, like, they're very inconsistent. Like, at one point in the season, they'll be giving you really, really good games. And then another point of the season, they'll be, like, ice cold. At least, hopefully that doesn't happen to Jordan Poole because I love Jordan Poole. Yeah. And then, I mean, I mentioned Fred's been stepping up. Last couple games for Fred have been fantastic, too. He's at, I believe, 27 and 28 in the last two, if I'm not mistaken. But, man, it's just a joy to watch. I mean, even Jabari Smith Jr. hasn't been anything to write home about. He's been another really inconsistent player, but man, he's had a couple nights too where he's shown that he can still score the rock when he wants to. I mean, they've just been a joy to watch. I'm so happy. I think they're legit. I don't think anyone else still thinks they're legit, but I think they're creeping up on the contender level right now.
Ever since I met you, I've low-key become a Rockets fan because of you. So it is great to see them just hit their potential this early. I personally thought they would make the play-in this year, but right now they're looking like a top 6 seed. Like, they're clearly going to make the playoffs as of now. So I don't know. I thought they were going to do play-in, get some experience, and then next year really contend. Proving me wrong.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like a work of art. It really is.
Yeah.
Just put a picture of our roster. Replace the Mona Lisa at this point.
All right.
No,
It's amazing.
Okay.
We've officially gone over the cliff.
Okay, we let him cook, and now we've burnt the food. So
I know we were. Yeah, yeah. I will say. I mean, look, the Rockets. I just said they were playing great. That's why they get an A so far. They also they've been taking care of business so far with the early start to the season. Because I will say, not all in on the Rockets yet on being for real yet. Because when you look up their 11 wins. Really, the main highlights are they beat the Mavericks in Dallas, who we said have been a little inconsistent, and they beat the Knicks at home. Besides that, all their wins have been games that they should have won. They should have won. Coming up soon, they'll have some more tougher competition. Coming up over the next few games, we'll see how they get to play against the Thunder, against the Timberwolves, who have some good defensive bigs, the Warriors, who've been really good. So we'll see if they are actually for real here coming up over the next month so far. But got to give them credit for what it's due for beating the teams that they should beat and really kicking butt on this early start to the schedule. Because talking about them in the team preview thing before the season. It's like the Rockets, in order for them to be in that hunt later on in the season, they need to do well in this first part of the season because it's not that bad. They should do well to start the season. And if they do end up falling to the play-in or wherever they finish in the postseason, because I do think that they will finish in the postseason, it will be because of this start to the season and taking care of business.
Very true. Very true.
Jackson. Who's your first team?
All right, so I'll just go to another one of my favorites. Another kind of disappointing team that some of us even has the 1 seed. Not saying I had them close to there. I had them as the 2 seed, but it's the Timberwolves, and I'm going to give them a B-. I had them at a B, and then right before we started recording, they lost to the Raptors. So, they've had a really, really weird season. And this Raptors loss, honestly, isn't that surprising when you look at how their season has gone so far. They've been losing to the bad teams, and they've been handling business against the good teams. It's honestly kind of been frustrating watching the Timberwolves because realistically, with the teams they've beat, they should have a significantly better record because they should have been winning a lot of the games against the worst teams as well.
Hey man,
So
DiVincenzo's running the show.
he's trash. Oh, he's so bad.
He's been.
I'd rather have Elmo from Sesame Street running my backup.
Well, they had him in there at the end of the Raptors game, and
We
it
saw how
looked
that
like
went.
it was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been so weird. Like you mentioned, Jackson, with the teams they've beaten and then the teams they lost to. Like they lost back-to-back to the Blazers, which is never good. I'll get to the Blazers later, but that should not be happening. And then the players, like, I think a question coming into the season was going to be the three-point shooting in their lineup. And so far, the question was going to be the three-point shooting of their best players. Would Edwards and Randall be able to consistently knock down threes? Those two have been pretty good from beyond the arc. It's been the guys that were knocking them down last year in Conley, DiVincenzo, and even McDaniels to a certain extent that are all shooting like 31, 32, and 33% from three, which I think it's just been a weird year so far. You cannot figure them out right now.
I will always call for more Nickeil Alexander-Walker minutes. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He almost always gives you good, solid minutes.
Yeah, he and Naz Reid have been really good off the bench as well. It's just been those other three guys in that, or McDaniels and Conley in that starting lineup, and DiVincenzo off the bench that has just been really confusing. Like
confusing.
Hoopin runs in that Alexander Walker family. I'm not gonna lie, him and Shea, man.
Whew.
Those cousins.
Mhm.
That's right. Nick,
Hey,
who's your second team?
It is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh,
I mean, it is a miracle that this team has 4 wins. 4-12. Bro, they got their whole rotation is hurt. I mean, every single guy in their starting rotation, their top 8 are hurt.
It's incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this before.
It's a miracle,
Nick,
like I said. They got a D-. I can't give them an F because they can't really control, but D- is where I'm at because I mean a lot of these games most of them haven't been competitive. They're losing, they're getting blown out. And hey, lots of two-ways, getting some looks. Yeah, I guess that's about the only good.
Misi's getting his chance to play. Like he's been the bright spot right now. Brandon
Misi
Ball.
Do they have their own pick this year?
I'm about to look into that right now, actually, because that.
Nick, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this, though. I don't know if anyone, like nobody else who's watching this knows, but the injured reserve fantasy team.
All right.
It's reminiscent of the.
Hey, in his defense, when the Pelicans the other day when they played the Cavs, they had 8 guys out. Luckily, Nick's fantasy team, the injured reserves, only have 7 guys out.
Yeah,
brutal. I feel you, New Orleans. I feel you, New Orleans.
Brutal.
We're looking forward to the Super Bowl.
Your team's cursed.
They did. So the Pelicans do own their first round pick, unprotected. So they
Thank
have.
goodness.
So they have their first round pick this year and next year. So that's the bright spot right now for the
I'll
Pelicans.
pose a question: if you get number 1 and you take Cooper Flag, what does it mean for Zion? Because they both are power forwards. I mean, you could play Cooper 3. I think you trade big whatever. What are we gonna call him? Big buffet.
Big buffet.
Big buffet.
I can't with you guys.
What are those dragons they put outside the Chinese buffets?
Well,
There's the big buffet, and then there's Bojan Bogdanovic, the big 4.
Okay. In all seriousness, though, with the Pelicans right now, it's horrible with all the injuries that they're facing. But 4 of the injuries of their top 8 guys are day to day, so they should be getting a little more healthy soon.
Here, let me just list them off. Zion, Brandon Ingram, Jordan Hawkins, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, Jose Alvarado, and Herb Jones, all on the injured list.
Yeah. So Ingram, McCollum, Murphy, and DeJounte Murray are all day-to-day. So you would think they should be able to come back in the next week here. So they're not completely screwed here in the regular season if they want to try to make a run here going forward. Because if there's anything we could say about the Pelicans, they do have a lot of depth Problem is all their
Definitely.
depth got injured. But with their guys coming back, like it's not like they have not good players eventually coming back here. You know, it's easy to say right now because they've just been injured the whole season to be like, man, this season is just a wrap here. But this team has the talent, man. This team, just like 3 seasons ago, I believe, or 4 years ago, they had Zion out the whole season. They got off to a brutal start. It was worse than this. And they still found a way to make the play-in and eventually make the playoffs and take the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns at the time to a competitive 6-game series there. So it's not completely out of the picture here. It'd be something else if everyone was like out for the season, but they are getting guys back soon enough, and maybe they can make a run going forward. We'll see. It's been brutal so far. Joey, what's your next team?
All right. So, as a Cleveland fan, I hate this team and the Golden State Warriors. And going into this year, I was not a believer. I think I had them 12th on the season.
Where I had them.
Predicting them. People had them possibly in the play-in, but we all thought it was obviously not going to be the way they are now. They are the number 1 seed right now in the Western Conference. They have the – what is that? The 3rd points per game, 2nd rebounds, 1st in assists, 5th in the offensive rating. They are 4th in defensive rating, 3rd in total net rating. They are just A+. I have nothing else to say. A+. They're just incredible. I'm just listening. I'm looking at all these stats. I'm like, top 5. No, what? Okay, here we go. There's nothing bad I can say about them right now because they are exceeding all expectations that I even had for them. I knew Steph was going to be a baller. I didn't know how Buddy Hield was. I thought Draymond was washed. Everyone's proven me wrong.
Surprise.
They're back.
They're back. We're going to run it back one more time.
Is this 2016 all over again? Cavs and Golden State just dominating?
Dude, it's
so sick of the
crazy.
Warriors, man.
It's crazy. Like I cannot believe that they have been this good.
How's Clay feeling?
I can't believe how's Clay feeling.
He's on a C team.
Warriors A+.
Do you agree with that A+ though? Come on, like
sure.
we all thought like they could possibly be good, but not this good. Not this good.
Yeah, I mean, they've been amazing. They've surpassed all expectations. They've done it again. And I've said this number about the Cavs earlier in the season. Since then, they've played in a lot of close games. So now I can say this about the Warriors. The Warriors are doing this. They have no one averaging 30 minutes per game. Everyone is averaging 29 or less, which is absurd for a team this good.
If it is Cavs Warriors in the finals, Adam Silver must force LeBron James to retire on the spot. On the spot. You're done. We don't need you anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, look, we will probably in a few episodes, once we have a bigger sample size, we'll do our first official contender or pretender segment.
Ooh.
I'm still not completely sure about the Warriors because I still think that second guy is super important for the playoffs. But for right now, they're getting it done with their defense, and then that second guy has just been performing. It doesn't matter who it is; like someone is always performing. It's crazy. So shout out to the Warriors.
Shout out to the Warriors and my new favorite player, Linda Waters for the Golden State Warriors. For the Golden State Warriors, Linda Waters is my new favorite player.
Why are you saying Linda?
I don't.
His name's Lindy.
Good old Lindy Waters.
Oh, I missed one letter.
Oh my goodness! Do have to prayers out though to D'Anthony Melton though, season-ending ACL injury, so that is something that will hurt because he always seems to be injury prone, but when he's on the floor, he provided a lot of good things for the Warriors and for teams in the past. So definitely tough news right there for the Warriors. But that's really been the only hiccup so far for them this season. So shout out to the Warriors. Next team here, I'll go to the Blazers, the Portland Trail Blazers, and I'm giving them a C+ so far this season. I like the way that some of their young guys are playing, but some of them have been a little bit disappointing and haven't been playing the best right now. When you look at the
two of them.
Numbers for Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant hasn't been that efficient either, but Scoot Henderson, I like what he's shown a little bit in his second season. Shaden Sharp, since coming back from injury, has looked amazing. They got Robert Williams back from injury. Donovan Clingan has looked good so far in the minutes he's gotten his rookie season. And they have stolen some wins from some, decent teams. They're currently, 6-9 on the season, which isn't terrible. They got 6 wins already, which is pretty solid. So Blazers get a C+.
Donovan Clingan looks like a defensive or just a baller. He's an elite defender already, at least for a big man coming in. He is. Well, I think because I had him early on my fantasy team, and man was getting me like 3-4 blocks a game.
Yeah, he's putting up 2 blocks in 16 minutes a game. That's impressive stuff right there. And getting to learn from a guy like Robert Williams, who's, an all-defensive player, now finally back from injury, and he's had some decent games as well. Those back-to-back games against the Timberwolves, actually, that they beat him. The first game, it was Robert Williams everywhere defensively. Then the next game, it was Clingan. That was 2 blocks from a triple-double in his rookie season. Like, he's been a beast so far against, a Timberwolves team that has the bigs to kind of combat that. So Blazers get a C+. Nick, who's your next team?
All right, we go from one corner of the bottom of the conference to another corner of the bottom of the conference.
Oh, my bad, Jackson. I forgot about you.
Hold on, I got a big build-up.
Oh, yeah, Jackson will go to you later.
Just kidding. No, go ahead, Jackson.
Do your build-up. Just do.
Who's your team? Let's go.
Oh, I thought you were doing your build-up.
No, I did the build-up.
Okay.
That was my whole point.
So, building off the Trailblazers, I'm going to go with another team that we kind of came into the season not expecting to be very good, but they're surprisingly at 500 right now. It's the San Antonio Spurs, and I give them a B+. I know that's kind of generous, but I don't know. They've just, even without Victor these last couple games, they've looked really, really good. Not really, really good, but they've looked good. Like, the supporting cast around him is kind of starting to figure it out. And he's also, since people were talking smack after that first Thunder game, he's been on a tear. I mean, he had the 50 ball against the Wizards. I believe he had 28, 14, and 5 against the Lakers. Like, they've just been surprising. And they're developing Wemby, which is what they're supposed to do. So I think it's B+.
I love Stephon Castle.
I do too, man.
Stephon Castle is a baller.
He's going to be good.
Perfect guy to pair up for Wemby.
He had a great game today. He looked explosive. He looked amazing on the defensive end today. He had 18, 3 and 6 today. And he was just all around going crazy. He was doing some crazy dunks. Like, he had a move where he split the defenders and then took one step, jumped off both, and like tomahawk dunked it. It was crazy. Like, I haven't watched much Spurs basketball, but I watched him and I'm like, dang. Like, I knew coming in that he was going to be a good player because I watched a lot of him at like UConn and stuff, and like a lot of his high school highlights. And his game's translating really well.
They beat Utah, right?
They did.
Yeah,
they came back.
They
also got to say the vets have been really good as well for the Spurs.
Like 48 free throws in that game to Utah's 28. So,
oh my goodness, they took 20 more free throws than Utah. But no, the vets for the Spurs have been playing very well. Like, Harrison Barnes this game had 25 and 10, and has just been a solid piece. And then, of course, Chris Paul closed out the Thunder game this past Tuesday in the NBA Cup. Hit one of those crazy threes at the end of the shot clock. We saw a lot of those in Houston.
sick of that dude.
But even then, like, he's just providing, that veteran leadership, averaging 11 points and 8 assists on the season, shooting well from all areas at his age 39 season. Like, because LeBron has been, so great this late in his career, it's kind of hasn't been talked about how solid Chris Paul has been, this late into his career. So I think the Spurs, them being 500 has definitely been surprising. So credit to the Spurs.
Hey, I'm just glad Chris Paul got over his addiction, man. His addiction to making the finals back in 2021.
Oh my God.
All right, now Nick.
We have a better segue. It doesn't even matter. The build-up doesn't even matter because we're talking about the Utah Jazz, who just lost to the Spurs. There's a segue. Yeah, you had to. I mean, we were watching this in the pre-pod lobby. It seemed like the Jazz were up 10 for the whole time that we had it on, and of course, we turn it off going into the fourth, and by Lord, I mean they blow the game. Like not surprising. Jazz are now 3-12, but they're doing what they need to do. Playing guys who they want to figure out if they're gonna keep them or deal them at the end of the deadline here. Like Jordan Clarkson's a guy that might get moved.
John
maybe
Collins,
John
Please trade
Collins,
Lowry
yeah.
Markkanen.
Collins been balling. Dude, Lowry can't get traded this
He's
year.
not getting traded now.
Well, no, he literally can't. Like he cannot. It's impossible to get him traded this year.
But I gave him a B because they're 3-12. Most of their games have been semi-competitive. They're getting blown out, but they're not getting blown out every night. And I don't know. They got one rookie playing well in Kyle Filipowski and one rookie not playing well in Cody Williams. If you'd have told me before the season started that Kyle is going to have a higher 3-point percentage than Cody Williams, I'd have been very shocked. But that is the case.
Well, yeah, you're a big Cody Williams fan.
Correct.
And again, it is still super early for all those guys, but no, absolutely. I mean, this is a team that over the last few years would kind of be competitive for the first half of the year for no reason, like really at the end of it. So good to see them just go all into, being at the bottom of the conference right now and getting good performances from some of their guys. Lowry Markkanen has been in and out of the lineup, which is perfect for them. Don't have to have him in for a whole bunch of games. Don't have to risk him getting injured, but then you don't have to, win a whole lot of games either. So it's been I think it's been good for Utah so far. Obviously, if they can get better performances from Cody Williams over the second half of the season, Keontae George can become a little more efficient, then I think this could become a even higher grade by the end of the season if their young players could play well.
Agreed.
Joey.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 9-7, but they have been, like the Pelicans, they've been very heavily injured, I will say. I'm looking at them, and they've played 16 games, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys have played all 16 games, and their names are Jake LaRavia, Jay Huff, Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, and Scottie Pippen Jr.
Ballers. They've all been balling.
I love Scottie Pippen Jr. I'm not even going to lie. Dude is one of the greatest backup point guards and perfect for the Grizzlies once Ja comes back.
Aldama is a bucket getter.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
He's annoying.
It is shy. Like the other team I'll talk about later, they've been dealing with injuries, but their injuries have been at least the guys that have played all the games are good players. These ones, you're not saying they're not good players, but they're not Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart. Like, come on. But the fact that they are 9-7 with a lot of those guys missing a bunch of games, I got to give them just a solid B.
Yep.
Just a solid B. Once they get healthy and all that kind of stuff, they'll probably hit their stride. They'll make the playoffs. Ja's going to do his thing. We'll see. I don't have much else to go on just because we haven't really seen that full squad yet.
No.
Zach Edey?
Zach Edey's a dog. He's my Rookie of the Year pick, and he's been all right.
He's looking good.
I personally, Bub Carrington has probably changed. I probably changed my pick to Bub right now or Jared McCain, but Zach Edey's still in that race.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be Jared.
Relax. I know. I'm not forgetting Jared McCain. Calm yourselves. It's a long season, but right now he's still in the race.
Yeah,
so
he's been playing for a week.
Solid.
Yeah, I like the B for Memphis. Not to mention, the thing that's super impressive. Not only are they beating teams with guys being out, when they win, they kill teams. They win most of them by double digits. Like most of all their wins have come by at least 11, 12 points. And we're kind of seeing a continuation of what we saw last year. Even though the Grizzlies were heavily injured, that opened up opportunities for a lot of players to kind of play a lot of minutes and now become role guys. on this Grizzlies team when they eventually come back, like a Scottie Pippen Jr. becoming one of the better backup point guards in the league. A lot of that's because he got to start a lot last year. Jalen Wells has come in as a rookie and has shot the ball well. He's a legit 6'8", can defend as well. Santi Aldama, the extra minutes. Jake LaRavia has been good. Like, all these role players getting the extra minutes. Jay Huff, dude.
Yeah.
My goodness. He has, I don't know if you guys see, like, every time he dunks the ball, it's a reverse dunk. Literally every time he dunks, it's his signature. But I've been very impressed with the Grizzlies, winning the games despite, Ja, Bane, like, being out for so much of the year.
For sure.
My next team, we'll go to the Phoenix Suns, who it's kind of been a weird season for them as well. They started the season all the way at the top when their guys were healthy. Then their guys got hurt, and they haven't won a game since. So now their record is sitting at 9-7 when I feel like they had a really good start to the season. So I'm going to give them a B-, just because, they had a really great start to the season, probably an A, then losing all these games, not the best right now. That could definitely hurt them in the standings by the end of the year, but very encouraged by their start to the season, their first 10 games. Like, they were 9-1 in their first 10 games, and they just looked really impressive. The ball was fizzing around the perimeter. Mike Budenholzer was bringing out his offensive schemes there, and it was working great for Phoenix. Just once you get Beal and Durant out, it's just hard to really create offense, besides Devin Booker. So I give him a B-.
Yeah, I thought that they were 9-2, and I was just double checking to make sure that they've lost 5 in a row, and that is the case.
Yep.
Really hard to make a judgment based on the fact that, like you said, Beal and Durant are out, and they looked great without them. So B-, that's a little stingy, Miles. I don't know.
What, as far as too good or too bad?
It's a little too bad.
Oh, bad? Well, no, because they've looked awful without them. Like, their role players haven't stepped up either, like offensively and defensively. The Knicks game on Wednesday, that was completely embarrassing, dude. The Knicks shot 58% from the field because all their shots, it seemed like, were absolutely wide open, whether it was from three or just easy drives to the basket. And that is not okay at all. Like, Kevin Durant, I think, is a very good defender, but him leaving the equation should not turn this team from being, solid defensively, like average, to being complete garbage. Like, I'm not liking what I've been seeing when they've been out of the lineup. But with them, they've been extremely clutch. That's a big reason why they started the season 9-2. But with them out of the lineup, they've not been a good basketball team. They've not been a good basketball team.
B-. B-. I won't fight you.
Jackson.
All right, I'm going to go with another I only have one team left, but another top team in the Western Conference. I'm going to go with the Thunder, and I'm going to give them an A. They're playing how we expected them to play. They're 12-4. They've been really good. They just lost to the Spurs, and they lost to the Mavericks, so they're kind of on a losing streak. But, they handled the Suns, who we just mentioned. They're beating the teams they should be beating right now. And, obviously the Mavericks and the Thunder, like, those are tough losses, but at the end of the day, you can't win every single game. And they've played like the top team, and they haven't had Chet, and they won't have Chet for, I think, until mid-December, right?
But Hartenstein played his first game, and my goodness, he looked incredible. He's going to help them so much already. Just being able to start, because that stretch where they lost a couple games to Dallas and San Antonio. Both were close in the end, though. They lost by a combined 8 points in those two games. But dude, them not having their any center play, they had J-Dub starting at the 5, and he was amazing. In the 6 games he started at the 5, he averaged 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists with 3 steals and a block, shooting 55% from the field and 40% from 3. Like, are you kidding me? As a stand-in center, like, their tallest player in the starting lineup for that stretch of games was their point guard, Shea. And they won all these games and were playing great defensively. And I honestly think J-Dub early in the season could be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, because they kept the same defense with him at the 5. It doesn't make any sense. This team is amazing.
They're the most well-rounded team in basketball. I thought a lot of us thought so. I thought so going in, and here we are.
It's just they're built perfectly for this new wave of how the game is played. Like I was watching pace and space. That's the hot button words. I was watching the Cavs Celtics game, and I was floored at the fact that Tatum. Sorry, I almost said Jalen Tyson because he had a great night tonight. But Jason Tatum was able to guard Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and he's only 6'8", and he's given up size, but it's like those guys aren't bruising down in the paint and looking for split action like post ups or triangle offense at all anymore. Like that's just not how the game is played. So they're just built perfectly for this pace and space that like everyone can shoot, everyone can defend all 5 positions pretty much and shoot the 3. It's like, damn.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Especially, and I still think there's room for them to improve because I don't even think they've shot they're not shooting anywhere close to how well they shot last year. And I think they could definitely improve. Like Caruso, he's been great defensively, brutal offensively. He finally had a great game against Portland offensively, and it's like, man, if they can get their like 3-point shooting up and their role players to shoot as well as they did last year, I don't know how you beat this team, man. It's really hard to play against this Thunder team. They've been very impressive. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yes, sir. Best grade of the day goes to the Los Angeles Clippers, man. These Clippers are playing some good ball right now. 9-7. They're the 9 seed. I had them out of the playoffs entirely. I think out of the play-in. So they're exceeding my expectations for sure. And I don't know if that says more about me being wrong or more about them playing well. But Norman Powell, 24 a night on 48% from 3. Good Lord Almighty. Geez. James Harden is also putting up 21, 9, and 8. Pretty good. And those 3 stats that I mentioned about Dallas, offensive rebounds, sending other teams to the line, and forcing turnovers, the Clippers are doing all 3. They're 6th, I think, in defensive rating. They're playing really well on that end. And Zubac he might be the most dominant big man in the game right now. He's absolutely murdering people this season.
I'd say on the glass. Glass.
Yeah, exactly. Most dominant big man on the glass.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, man. Dude, the Clippers they've been something else, man. They just stick around, man. And we don't know what is going on with, Kawhi Leonard or anything with that, if he is even close to returning or what the deal is. Did come out on Monday. He has been cleared to start shooting again, to do some shooting work. So you never know, man. But like, if Kawhi can come back and you have Harden and Kawhi with Norman Powell and Zubac playing like this and being this solid, they're gonna be in the hunt. I don't know how far they would go, but this team is they're solid.
Scrappy.
They're just they're scrappy, and they're just in it. They're just in it.
The way you were kind of wrong about the Clippers, I was wrong about the Warriors, so I kind of feel you on that one, Nick.
This is like the Derrick Jones effect.
Yeah. He's key for them. He is a key player in this league. He helped out Dallas so huge last year, and he's honestly perfect for this Clippers team.
Dude, I didn't even know he's shooting 45% from 3. Oh my gosh. They got 3 guys shooting 45 or better from 3. Derrick Jones, Norman Powell, and Amir Coffey. Coffey averaging 10 off the bench on 46% from 3. Those are the type of performances that you need. And then the defense, you get Chris Dunn, who's just a menace out there when he comes into the game. So Clippers, definitely impressive so far. They've been solid. Joey.
Oh, sorry. The Browns just won in a blizzard, so I'm very happy. Shout out to the Cleveland Browns. My last team is one of my favorite teams in the Sacramento Kings. Now, they are 8-7. They're right now tied with a bunch of teams for the 10th seed, I think. But I don't know. I give them like a C plus maybe. They do have a lot of injuries. Like I said, they're another team that they've played 15 games and they only have 3 guys that have played all 15 games, but their names are Fox, Keegan Murray, and Trey Lyles. So they should be in at least a little more games. However,
they are in games. They played.
Well, they just can't close them out. They just can't close them out, which is very unfortunate. That's when you really need. You have all. That's why you got DeMar. He's one of the clutchest players in the league, and he's just been out lately. So I don't know. They're gonna get better. What?
The more I see it, the less I like it.
Oh, stop it! No DeMar DeRozan slander. Sorry,
dude. Have you not seen that commercial with him and Drake?
Don't think so.
I've not.
Here, I'll share it. I'll share it in here after we're done with this. But
all right, but either way, like the Kings, they do need to play better. Specifically, Keegan Murray needs to play better, especially with Sabonis and DeRozan been out. I'm looking at his numbers. Man is averaging about 6 threes a game and shooting 30%. That's not good, especially if you're going to be the next highest scorer or the next guy outside of De'Aaron Fox, or at least you should be, and you're just not playing like it. He's averaging what? Just under 13 points a game.
Numbers have gone down too since the injuries, so he hasn't stepped up at all.
I was gonna say he's just been taking it down. I mean, they would be playing better and would have a better record if he was shooting better, but that's just what they need. Once everyone gets healthy, again, for a lot of these teams, it's early on, but there's a lot of injuries already piling up for a lot of teams. It's very unfortunate. NBA fix the schedules.
I mean, I think the Kings, honestly, I think their season so far has just come down to their clutch games and then it just not going their way like near the end. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, the way he's been playing, oh my goodness, dude. Incredible. He's averaging 29 points per game. He had 109 in a 2-game stretch.
Yeah.
Absurd. He's been playing great. I think Sabonis has been awesome too when he's played. DeRozan's been a decent addition too. I think it's been their clutch scenarios, and kind of like you mentioned, Joey, their role players. Like, it's not even just Keegan Murray. Malik Monk hasn't been the same player that we've seen lately.
Well. He's been hurt for a little bit too as well.
Kevin Huerter hasn't been shooting the 3-ball well. Trey Lyles hasn't been that good off the bench either. Like, this team, it's the big three are all playing amazing right now. It's those other guys that just have to step up and be better. And that said, I mean, the clutch games, like, it's crazy. Like, looking at their clutch stats right now, they've played in 10 clutch games already this season, which is tied for the league lead. And they're actually outscoring teams by a point in the clutch. They just haven't. They're 4-6 in the clutch. So they're just, some games has just not gone their way in the end. But those close games, though, they could definitely cost you in the standings, later in the season.
Absolutely.
My final team, I guess the final team we have to talk about, is the LA Lakers. And for me, I'm giving them a B+ because they have been on a roll right now. They've been playing some fantastic basketball. And I just really like what's been going on in LA. I mean, Anthony Davis has been playing like an MVP candidate right now. LeBron is still doing his thing, man. He's still balling and getting some performances from their role players. Like, we know what Austin Reeves can do, but the Rook, Dalton Connect four. Holy moly. Like, when he was on fire in that game against Utah, the camera just kept panning over to LeBron and Anthony Davis on the bench. And they were like speechless and smiling because they finally have a shooter on the Lakers like this. Like, they have been playing great. Only reason this isn't really an A or anything higher than a B+ is because D'Angelo Russell, I don't know. I don't really know how he fits in with this team. I think they should try to move on from him because I don't think that he really fits with this team anymore. But besides that, I mean, great basketball on both ends by the Lakers.
One of my favorite quotes after that Connect game was by the Jazz head coach, where he goes, "Man, that guy was so on fire. Everybody in the entire arena knew it was going to him, except our guys."
Yeah.
Spoken like a true. That's a great quote.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's a great quote.
And he said it like so serious too. Like, yeah, everyone in the gym knew that the ball was
amazing,
going in, except for a few people. Problem is, those few people were on the floor.
Like, it's the most astonishing thing he's ever.
Yeah, but no, Lakers they've been really good, man. I've been impressed. 10-4, third in the East on a 6-game winning streak, taking care of business at home. I mean, they're looking really good, man.
Keeping the haters
excited.
quiet. Keeping the haters quiet.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Don't
are.
hear
And
people about JJ Redick at all.
I've been loving it, man. I've been loving it.
I gotta stay
And then
quiet.
finally, Jackson, like we did for you in the Eastern Conference, give us a grade of the whole entire Western Conference as a whole to start the season.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at the West right now, and I have to give it an A+. I know that might be a little high, but I mean, their 12th seed would be the 5th seed in the East right now. I mean,
Yeah. The first team
That's-
out of the play-in is almost home court advantage.
Yep.
like it's
For the
amazing.
last team
and
in the play-in.
it's just
Whatever.
every team besides really the Pelicans and the Jazz have been competitive, because even the Blazers have been competitive
Mhm.
multiple times. So I mean, it's just been a joy to watch the West. And I mean, I'm a Rockets fan, so I've watched a lot of West basketball, especially with who they've played. And man, West is something special this year. It's going to be the bloodbath the whole year.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely can't wait. But so there are grades for every Western Conference team so far this season. Leave a comment with your thoughts on all these teams so far. The Sixers having their meeting, that can mean for them down the line. This new All-Star format, excited to see what that can mean. But you guys got anything else before we get out of here?
Nope.
Come on, Nick, give us a quote.
I had something, but I forgot about what it was.
No, all right.
Hustle, loyalty, respect. John Cena.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Jackson. All right. If you guys did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Of course, we have the podcast, but also the recaps going up every weekday. So hope you guys are enjoying those. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.